Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the January 8th, 2024 Kitty Hawk Town Council meeting to order, 6 o'clock p.m. We're in the Kitty Hawk Town Hall, the Smith Meeting Room. Our first meeting of 2024 is a big night, so thank you all for coming, those of you that are here and those of you that are watching live as we conduct our business. If you would, if you're able to stand, please stand and join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Folks, as we move into 2024 with our new meeting, we have come up with a new process, a safety briefing that we're going to start showing at the beginning of every council meeting. Chief Palkovich and a committee have come together and recommended some changes to make things more user-friendly, safer for this town council, the people who are here tonight, and the staff that work here. So, Chief, thank you for the work that you have done towards this briefing. I saw it this morning. It looks great. So, Christy?
Welcome to Kitty Hawk Town Hall and the Elizabeth A. Smith Meeting Room. We are pleased to have you with us today. Before we begin our meeting, I want to provide you with a few safety and housekeeping guidelines. Restrooms are located just outside the door you entered the meeting room through. Go through these doors and the restrooms are on the right. Located just outside the restrooms are a fire extinguisher, automated external defibrillator, and water fountains. In the event we need to evacuate, there are two exits. The main exit is the same door you entered the room through. Proceed down the hallway and the exit doors are on the left. If that path is blocked, there is a second exit available in the office to the left of the dais. Both exits are marked with red exit signs. In the event of an evacuation, please meet up in the southernmost corner of the parking lot so we can account for everyone. If that is not a safe place due to the emergency, proceed to a safe place and contact Town Hall by phone once the emergency has ended. We have a limited number of sound amplification devices for people with hearing impairments. Please silence your telephones and electronic devices. If you need to make or take a call, kindly proceed to the library area just past the restrooms to have your conversation. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you very much. Thanks again, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Council, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion made by David, second.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Next, we have a presentation to our Kitty Hawk Police Department FBI leader. Come up, please. This is a big thing. We have been anxiously awaiting this.
Take my glasses off to read. Can you believe it? All right. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Garris, distinguished town council of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, Chief Palkovich, Kitty Hawk Police Department members who are present, and any and all distinguished members who are watching either through television and or in person. On behalf of the FBI leader president, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jacques Batiste. I am the executive director of FBI LEDA. January 6th made 1 year for me in that position. I bring you greetings and congratulations on behalf of Donna McNamara, our national president, our executive board, and our entire membership, both in the United States and globally. Today is a very important day because the Kitty Hawk Police Department has reached a new milestone in excellence. Much like 100+ years ago, you had two gentlemen by the name of Wilbur and Orville Wright, who started in the aviation industry by bringing what was called flights of freedom two members started in this police department in 1983 with a vision. Since then, they have been working tirelessly to continue to build excellence for the community and for everyone in the state of North Carolina. It is my honor to be here representing FBI LEDA and to present the FBI LEDA Agency Trilogy Award to the Kitty Hawk Police Department here in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which is a very distinguished accomplishment in itself. My first time here was as an FBI agent back when they had the 100th anniversary of Kitty Hawk. So I served here for about 2 weeks and fell in love with the area. So to be here tonight is a big joy for me also personally. FBI LEDA presents law enforcement agencies across the country whose entire command staff have made and completed the sacrifice of taking the Trilogy Leadership Series with the FBI Leadership Trilogy Award. So let me make sure you understand what I'm saying. With your department, 16 men and 2 non-sworn, 16 officers, they have made a sacrifice on top of all of their normal work to be able to take the necessary courses to reach this great level. FBI LEDA Trilogy Series consists of 3 of our flagship courses: Supervisor Leadership Command, Command Leadership, Executive Leadership, which is, in this case, means that all of these officers in this department reach that milestone by completing those 3-level courses. But I want you to understand more succinctly that in 2023, there were 49 agencies across the country to receive the Agency Trilogy Award. Kitty Hawk is now the 3rd in the great state of North Carolina to have made that sacrifice and have reached that goal. And there have been a total of 114 recipients since we started this award back in 2018. With that being said, we are pleased to present to Chief Michael Palkovitz, Lieutenant James Helm, the Kitty Hawk Police Department staff, and the residents of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the FBI Leadership Agency Trilogy Award. Congratulations. Now, I will fall on the sword and graciously let you know there was a framed certificate that was sent for the event, but somehow Mr. Murphy, it never arrived, as I found out a few minutes ago. So normally that would be a more pomp and circumstance of a framed certificate, but we will get that to you as soon as possible. But again, Chief, honor and privilege, please.
So thank you very much, and what I'd like to say is very brief, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming down here and how honored we are to have you here. FBI LEDA, for those that you don't know, is probably one of the most premier and best trainings that you can get as a police officer. Dean Crisp, who is from North Carolina, taught me, and I worked with him in my prior agency as well when we were doing the FBI LEDA up there. And he really brought it home, and he talked about this is cops teaching cops. And that's what it was. It was people that had walked the walk, done the job, coming in and teaching the classes. And we are completely committed to maintaining this status and sending our people to get trained and getting them through all 3 courses, because it really does not only improve us in our job, but it improves us as people. And so we can be better for the town and the community we serve. So thank you for the training. Thank you for coming down here, and we are absolutely honored and privileged to receive this award.
Yes, thank you. You should be very proud of this.
I think I can speak for everybody. Thank you both for coming down for this presentation. Chief, this is an awful lot about you and the men and women in your department. Thank you. We are proud of you, and we're certainly thankful that you're here with us in the town of Kitty Hawk.
Thank you, they're doing a great job.
Thank you. Yes, they are. Thank you. That was great. Public comment. Christie, has anyone signed up for public comment, or Laura?
No, sir. Diane Midget of 1101 West Kitty Hawk Road.
Okay, come on up, Ms. Midget.
She's speaking for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Ready? Hi, folks. Diane Midget, 1101 West Kitty Hawk Road. I was here back in November, and I want to continue that conversation I had with you guys about the dredging. After that meeting came to my attention, there was some folks that really wasn't aware of what really does go on back here, and the bridge that was constructed on Kitty Hawk Road. That bridge is 50 feet from my bedroom window, so I had a pretty good bird's eye view of the construction of it and just what happened. As y'all know, that the flooding has just been horrific back in our area, off of Kitty Hawk Road. When they came in, when the state came in and built this, from what I understand, $2.5 million bridge, concrete bridge, this is 16 40-foot concrete pylons that was drove into the water. When they put those pylons in the water, 40 feet has to go down to 8 feet. It takes 60 pounds to hit that pylon to make it go 1 foot. Multiply that by 16 pylons. That was a lot of pounding that went onto that water. I can tell you firsthand, because it was my home, my land, I can tell you what it did to me. But watching that, ever since this bridge has been built, oh, by the way, this road is now 4.5 feet higher than it was previous to this bridge being built. There's 3 storm drains put in that bridge, piped directly into my yard. Not the canal on the other side, but directly into my yard. So my yard is surrounded by this water, beside this bridge. I'm now in the bottom of a bowl. So as this water's coming up, I have nowhere to go. Water can't go over either, because now the road's 4.5 feet higher. What I've seen with how shallow this has become from where they did all this pounding, and this wasn't only the 16 pylons that was put in. This is the 40-foot metal, I'm going to try to say this correctly, corrugated sheets of metal that went down along the side, the walkway that was added next to the bridge. So that was a tremendous amount of shaking, pounding, and just disruption of the land around that bridge. Now when you come around that corner where Twyford comes out to meet Kitty Hawk Road, that little curve right there stays underwater all the time. The ridge behind my house stays underwater all the time. It was never like that. Never like that. We have flooding, yes. We have storms, yes. This has been an added insult to injury for us. I've asked several times, even had a case, Casey can tell you about this, Casey was my attorney, tried to address the state over this. Couldn't get a judge to listen to it from what I understand from Casey. So this really needs to be addressed, because this has affected our area. And this is what State of North Carolina NCDOT has come in and done. And I think that y'all just need to be more aware of this. One of the things that concerns me is, I hate to bring this up, with this project, this new section that could be possibly built, and that's okay, that's not my problem. But when you're going to raise that up, that puts me and my neighbor next door to me even further down in this bowl. Now, I've gone around and I have talked to, getting some quotes together on what it's going to take to build my land back up, to bulkhead my property. That is my issue. But what I'm going to ask this town is, when I have to invest this kind of money to save what's been done to my property, what is the town going to do to make sure I don't flood out if this is a part of the issue from this bridge, this is not storms. This is bridge. This is damage done to the bridge. So I need to know before I invest that kind of money, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. Talk to Wade. I have to get quotes on, drain fields and those kind of things. This land all has to be built up. Before I invest that kind of money, am I going to be okay? And don't just say, well, Miss Midget. By the way, that name is Midget. That means I've been around here a long time. My roots are extremely deep. You won't know that. So, I know what storms do, and that's not my issue. I'm talking about the damage done from the construction of the bridge. Please take a look at this. I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna ask you what you found out. And just to address your response to me in November, I watched some of the most amazing equipment come park in my yard, because I looked right out my window and I could see the equipment that they used to construct that bridge. We've got some pretty modern technology these days. We don't have to have a bucket to go back there to dig it out. And when you do take it, dig that stuff up out of that, put it back over on the ridge. Build those ridges back up so that we can get our wildlife to come back in habitat again. We're losing those. There was a lady here last month that talked about the eagles that are nesting directly behind my yard. So we're going to lose these things if we don't take some serious action. Have a nice windstorm coming? I invite you all to come to my yard and sit there the next 2 days and see what it looks like. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Midget. And this is public comment only. We'll address this, Ms. Midget, at the end of our meeting. Anyone else signed up? Laura, be sure public comment is 3 minutes, not 5 minutes.
She was speaking for the cruiser.
Public hearing.
Oh, I apologize.
This is public comment.
Okay. My,
All right, no problem. I enjoy listening to her, no problem. Anyone else signed up for public comment? Anyone else would like to speak at tonight's public comment about any topic? Anybody? Okay, let the record show no one else chose to speak. And Ms. Midget, I promise you at the end we'll get you some information back to you.
And I'll come back next month and respond to you.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay, we've got an oath of office to do. As everyone knows, January 1st, our longtime town clerk, Lynn Marsh, retired, and she certainly deserved her retirement. She'd been here a long time. After an extensive search, we have found a new candidate. The committee has found Ms. Kristen Fellenstein, correct? Did I say that right? All right. So we have to administer an oath of office to her because this is an important position that each town is required to have. So Christy, if you would come up, please. Make sure everybody can see her smiling face and not mine. Okay, great. That's Amy Bible reading right here. I state your name.
I, Christy Fellenstein,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, and the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as the town clerk for the town of Kitty Hawk. So help me God. So say I do.
I do.
Congratulations. Now it's official. Council, I need a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Dylan, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We had no items removed from the consent agenda. 10A Planning, we got a site plan review. I think, Casey, you're filling in for Rob tonight, who is in training as we speak.
Yep, yes, sir, Mayor, I'll take it. This particular, it's 10A, particular approval, or, sorry, application involves a site plan modification request to add 10 additional parking spaces and associated drive aisle to the existing commercial development on site. The property is 3708 North Croatan Highway. And a little bit of background, in 2018, Town Council adopted a text amendment that allowed for additional built-upon area in excess of the maximum allowable 60% lot coverage of up to 72% built-upon area, but only if the additional 12% was made out of permeable materials of some sort. What's happening here is 13 existing parking spaces which are constructed of permeable pavement are being demolished, and in place of that, there would be the requested new parking, which is 10 parking spaces and drive aisle, also using the permeable pavement. So they're replacing permeable materials with permeable materials is what's happening. And in addition, there's also impermeable areas for smoking and non-smoking areas, as well as a base for a future generator and fire sprinkler check, control, and riser room. Staff's analysis, the proposed use is within the mixed commercial. Lot area of this particular parcel is 56,711 square feet. The lot coverage is in compliance as the total built upon area proposed is 70.7%. And again, that text amendment allowed for 72%, so long as that additional 12, as in this case, is made out of permeable materials. Setbacks are complied with on this particular parcel. The proposed parking area is 25 feet from the property line, making it compliant with all of our setback requirements. Rob did recommend 2 conditions of approval. 1, to submit a copy of the septic permit issued by Dare County Environmental Health, and 2, an as-built survey required at completion of construction, noting the permeable pavement material used and verifying correct installation. So if you would include, in the event that you approve this, if you would include those conditions as part of your approval. As far as the land use plan, the planning board did find that this application was in line with the invest and improve portion, which is where this property exists on our future land use map. However, as we all know, a land use plan is only a guiding document used to support certain decisions. However, it's not regulatory, so the denial can't be based solely on our land use plan. Planning board's recommendation was a unanimous approval. So here you guys are now with consideration and materials in your hand for decision.
Thank you, Casey, and you've got it in Rob's recommended. Just make sure everyone knows the town of Kitty Hawk does not approve septic tank permits.
That's right.
That's a Dare County Health Department.
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions for Casey? No questions. If not, I will entertain a motion.
Can we, I do have a question for the applicant.
Sure. Is the applicant here? Come on up, sir.
My name is Ralph Calfee. I am the sole member and manager of Harbor Bay LLC, which is the applicant.
Appreciate you coming, Mr. Calvin. Always good to see you, sir.
Appreciate being here, appreciate hearing you all, and how about this, with this new outfit you got. I hope I'm gonna hear good things.
You don't have to read lips anymore, right?
And guess, what did he say?
That's a good thing. Glad you're here, sir.
Thank you.
Dylan, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Coffey. I've just got 2 questions for you. Does this site have an existing state stormwater permit? Is that right?
Yes.
Do you plan on getting a modification for that since you're moving the infiltration basin?
I will communicate with them. I anticipate, though, that they're going to indicate that because there's no additional impermeable lot coverage, that basically is not considered a major change of use. But
Will your proposed basin hold the same amount of stormwater as the old approved basin? That's mainly my point.
It holds as much as was approved. The old basin was grossly oversized, but the new basin will retain all the stormwater necessary, yes.
Do you mind providing the county a copy of that approval, whether it's just an email or whatnot from the state?
Certainly.
Once they review that?
Yeah.
Second question, do you mind me asking what type of permeable pavement you plan on using?
Well, we're looking at a couple. One of them is paving stones. The latest example has been up at next to Food Lion up in Southern Shores. Some of the spaces probably will be the classic old turf stone because some of the spaces are intended low use and they're easy access, so there's no wheel scrub or any of that kind of stuff. And the interesting thing about turf stone is when it is actually put in properly, and most of it is not, it actually performs pretty well.
So the reason for my question, for the ADA parking space number 36 right by the building, you've left that loading zone as solid pavement, correct?
The ADA space is left as conventional pavement.
The ADA parking spaces as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
Good question, good question. Any more questions for Mr. Calfee, anyone? Thank you, sir. Okay, I'll entertain a motion, council.
Mr. Mayor, I move to grant approval of this site plan modification at 3708 North Croatown Highway with the conditions mentioned in the staff report.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Charlotte. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, council. Okay, item 10B, we've got a subdivision, 4410 Ridge Road, to subdivide some existing lots. Casey?
Thank you, Mayor. So again, this is at 4410 Ridge Road. The applicant has submitted an application and preliminary plat for the subdivision of the parcel located at that address. The plat, which I believe is attached in the materials, essentially provides for subdividing an existing parcel, which is 3.65 acres, into 2 lots. No new road or road expansions are proposed as part of the subdivision. The 2 new lots would amount to 91,578 square feet on one lot, with 43,970 square feet of uplands, and 67,316 square feet on the second lot, with 28,621 square feet of uplands. Because there are no improvements proposed or recommended conditions of approval, the plat is being presented as both the preliminary and final. So a decision tonight would result in the ultimate approval of the subdivision. However, should there be any conditions of approval which would require a revised plat, the board is allowed to make a separate preliminary plat approval and then require a revised final plat to be submitted at a later date. So if you guys have some kind of revisions you'd like to make to it, you can make a motion to request the same, and then a revised plat would have to come back to you. Staff's analysis, the subject property currently has 1 single-family home and associated accessory structures, and it is zoned VR1, which is low-density village residential district. Single-family residents, of course, are permitted by right in this VR1 district. The minimum lot size here is met. In fact, as I said, there's far more than 15,000 square feet of upland area. The density, the maximum permitted density is 2 single-family dwellings per acre, and in this proposal, we're actually at 0.54 dwellings per acre, so it's compliant with the density requirements. Lot width, given there 130 feet and 100 feet at their front, are compliant with our 75-foot requirement. Building setbacks, they're shown on the preliminary plat, and they do comply with our setback requirements. Road frontage, all the lots have the minimum road frontage of 50 feet. And as far as right-of-ways, given there are no new roads proposed as part of this subdivision, there's no consideration that needs to be given to road right-of-ways. Land use plan, the policy 3.1 amounts to managing land use and development to minimize primary and secondary impacts on resources and existing residents through standards for developments. And policy 3.4 states that it encourages residential living that fits Kitty Hawk's character. Again, it's a guiding document, but it's staff's opinion that this is compliant with the land use plan. Planning Board voted to unanimously approve this at its December 28th of 23 meeting, and I will turn it over to you guys for questions or a vote.
Thank you, Casey. So basically, we're going from one lot to two lots.
That's correct, Mayor.
All right?
And no new roads, no infrastructure of that nature being installed or constructed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Casey? No questions? May I have a motion?
I'll move to approve preliminary final plat for 4410 Ridge Road LLC that creates a total of 2 lots on Ridge Road.
Thank you, David. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, item 11A, we're going to get an update regarding old business on the West Village subdivision. Casey?
And we felt this important at our last meeting. There were certainly comments concerning questions that were raised in the past at town meetings wherein this particular piece of property came up for application on subdivision. And we wanted to get those questions answered, but also put into our record. Rob prepared this particular report, so I'm not going to deviate from it. I'm gonna read right off of it, but we want to get this out into the record. So, at the December 24th, 2023 Town Council meeting, there were several requests for additional information. Below is a summary of the information gathered at this time. First concern, traffic. Per Caitlin Spear, who is the district engineer for NCDOT, a site triangle is requested to be delineated on the plat for the road. Per NCDOT policy, a site triangle shall measure a minimum of 70 feet along the existing road right-of-way and 10 feet along the new road right-of-way. This aids in preventing placement of objects or vegetation that may hinder the field of view when entering or exiting the subdivision. Regarding potential traffic, from NCDOT's preliminary review of the project, traffic issues in quotes are not anticipated for this development. The threshold for NCDOT requiring a traffic impact analysis for a development is 3,000 vehicle trips per day, or approximately 300 single-family homes in one development. The police department has also deployed its trailer for the week of December 8th through December 16th to count the number of vehicle trips on West Kitty Hawk Road in that vicinity. During that time period, a total of 5,904 vehicles commuted on West Kitty Hawk Road. It should be noted that traffic impact is not a factor included in either the zoning or subdivision ordinances. Therefore, as part of an administrative review, traffic impacts cannot be a consideration with regards to approval or denial. The sole determination to be made regarding traffic is whether the proposed road is appropriate for the number of lots being created. The proposed road is less than 2,500 feet in length and would not collect traffic from more than 100 dwelling units, and therefore, per Kitty Hawk Town Code Section 38-137, it classifies as a local residential subdivision street. Schools. It was reported to staff that a school bus would not be sent down the cul-de-sac until 10 or more bus riders lived on the roadway. Staff reached out to the superintendent to inquire about general impacts on the school system the proposed new 27 lots would have, and to date a response has not been received. Town engineers review. The subdivision proposal has been forwarded to John DeLucia of Albemarle and Associates for additional review. At the time of this writing, it is still under review. However, I've spoken with Rob since he wrote this report, and I do believe that Rob informed me Mr. DeLucia stated there was some additional information he actually needed from the applicant in order to complete his review. And it is what we will be doing now. We just learned this at the end of last week, but what we'll do is we'll reach out to the applicant, make sure that that information is received by the town engineer before any review or before the subdivision comes back before you. So I did have somewhat of an update to add to that. So prior proposals for this site. Now, this is where we want to get into answering the questions that were proposed at the previous meetings. However, just to give everybody just some background on the way this particular application or property, as far as subdivision, has come forward to the town council. Rob did a great job of outlining what occurred at each meeting. At the December 2nd, 2013 Town Council meeting, a proposal was reviewed for 30 lots on 22 acres in this exact same area. Despite concerns and opposition raised by 3 of the public comments, it was acknowledged by council if the proposal was consistent with the ordinance, then it must be approved, regardless of how they felt about the proposal. During the first review, the only debate was whether the road met the requirements of Chapter 38. Ultimately, council decided the proposal met these requirements and unanimously approved the subdivision. However, of course, no development occurred. On June 2nd, 2014, a town council meeting was held where a proposal came back. And according to the minutes of the June 2nd, 2014 meeting, which are in the packet for anybody who wants to review those, there were no public comments pertaining to the proposed subdivision. The revised proposal included 29 lots on 22 acres. The general feeling from the majority of council was the proposed density of 1.32 dwellings per acre, seeming that it was too intense, despite meeting the maximum density requirement set forth by the VR1 district, which is 2 dwellings per acre. As previously noted in an administrative subdivision review, general feelings do not matter. The only thing council can base a decision on is whether the proposal is compliant with chapters 38 and 42 of the town code. In this case, in 2014, council decided to table the decision as there were 2 questions raised that they wanted information on. And here are those questions, and then Rob has also provided answers. The first question was, at that meeting proposed, is it permissible to have septic systems on separate lots or across a street from the dwelling? The subdivision ordinance does not dictate the placement of septic systems on individual lots. So this is not part of the decision-making factors for an administrative subdivision review. The only mention of septic systems in Chapter 38 is a disclosure shall be included on any plat stating the approval of the subdivision does not guarantee septic approval on any individual lot. This, of course, is in place because Dare County Environmental Health is going to review for septic approval on an individual basis as the lots are developed. Septic layout, thus, is not part of the subdivision review. And I think what Rob's trying to say there is when a subdivision application comes forward, you're approving division of lots, but you're not stating or confirming that any of those lots, for that matter, can be developed. So that's what happens when site plans come forward on each individual development within on a given lot. In addition, Section 42-514, which is water supply and sewer disposal requirements of our code, this states for septic tank, approval by the county health department is required. So there's no mention of the system being adjacent to the dwelling. However, of course, if the health department has issues with where the septic system is located, then that would be within their jurisdiction to regulate. The second question is, can the 15,000 square foot of uplands on a lot be intersected by swamp or wetland areas? That gets to our, I guess, contiguous situation. And during that meeting, it was discussed by the planner at that time that there was no statement in the subdivision ordinance that would require the upland to be contiguous. That is still the case today. Staff looked back to the minutes of April of 2004, when the 15,000 square foot of non-CAMA wetlands minimum lot size was initially adopted. In that particular case, there was no mention either in the minutes or in the adopted language stating that the intent was for 15,000 square feet of CAMA wetland, CAMA at that time, because again, the newest amendment is what brought forth the 404 wetlands. CAMA wetlands, no requirement for them to be contiguous. Then at the February 2nd, 2015 Town Council meeting, according to the minutes, there was one speaker in opposition of the proposal. The opposition was seemingly in relation to the number of lots being proposed, which was still at that time 30 lots on 22 acres, 1.36 dwellings per acre. The questions raised were, would the large lot to the south become landlocked as a result of the subdivision, or would an easement allow for future subdivision of that large parcel? In this case, Rob's response is the lot was an existing lot and not part of the subdivision, and it would have been provided access via an access easement. The lot in question has been included, however, as part of this particular subdivision, at least the plats we've seen to date, and it is shown to have access via a proposed easement shown on the plat. And the applicant has also indicated a willingness to put a deed restriction in place that would prohibit future subdivision of those rear parcels, the larger parcels. The questions also came up about the road design and whether the curves were appropriate for the terrain. And then Rob states that there was a ton of discussion between council and the engineer, and it was determined that the road would naturally force drivers to go slower as opposed to a long and straight road that is posted 25 miles per hour, and that the proposed layout would use the existing terrain, whereas straightening the curve could be achieved, it would require disturbing more land area and filling more wetland area. During this review, the majority of council felt that the proposal was too intense or too densely developed for that area. And again, we're still talking about the February 2015 meeting. And for those particular reasons, the proposal was denied in 2015. No action is being proposed at this meeting. It is anticipated that all requested information will be in hand in time to place the matter on the February 5th agenda for a decision from council. However, until such time as all the information and material to include what needs to be presented to the town engineer, until that's received or at least given to the right parties, the proposal will not come back. Rob wanted to state here at the end that please be aware that the only things council can consider when making its decision on this subdivision are, number one, is the proposal consistent with the regulations of Kitty Hawk Town Code, Chapter 38, subdivisions, and is the proposal consistent with the regulations of Kitty Hawk Town Code, Chapter 42, zoning. So I will note that you can read between the lines there, but the bottom line is, what Rob's saying is if the intent of our most recent minimum lot size and wetland ordinance, if the intent of that ordinance by this council is determined to require, for example, 15,000 square feet of contiguous uplands, if that's the consensus, if that's the majority, as far as that's what the intent is of that ordinance, then council can vote in that particular manner. The only thing that I want to point out for the public's sake is if the basis of this, of a denial is, okay, it doesn't meet the intent of our wetland ordinance, or minimum lot size ordinance, because, all the lots don't have the 15,000 square feet of contiguous, in other words, uplands that are not somehow divided by another form of wetlands or lower lying areas or a street. If they're not contiguous, then they don't, and that's what they're showing us, then subdivision doesn't comply with the ordinance. That would be something that council, again, can vote on. However, I do recall the applicant saying I don't recall if it was at the planning board meeting or if it was at our first town council meeting when this came up, but they could redesign that road and essentially form a subdivision with the same amount of lots that would have 15,000 square feet of contiguous uplands. Unfortunately, it would require the destruction of more vegetation and the filling of more wetlands. But the applicant has indicated that if that's again, the intent that council sees here, and that's how they vote, then the plan could be amended or revised to account for the 15,000 contiguous requirement. So just wanted to point that out, so that way everybody is on the same page when it comes to that, so. And I'll stand for any questions that you guys might have, do my best to answer them. Wanted to go through the report that, again, Rob wrote it, didn't want to misstate anything, but I think he did a pretty good comprehensive job, and do know, however, that we won't allow it to come back until such time as all necessary information is received.
Great job, Casey, you and Rob both, but that was this council, as I said at the last meeting, this council makes decisions based on facts, not assumptions or speculation. I think we all want to see all the information come back before we even attempt to make a decision on this. If it's not by February,
Then it's not.
then it's not. We'll wait till the
That's
next
right.
meeting, whenever it's all back.
I have a couple comments on this.
Yes, sir.
Chief, I'd ask you guys to put the radar trailer out there to count cars, because the phone calls I received from residents was mainly about traffic. And I know that there was a mention in here about the total amount of cars, but can you give a little bit better breakdown each day?
I could, but I do not have any of the notes with me. The one thing I do want to make clear is that is in one direction. That is not in and out. That is all vehicles coming out of the subdivision is what it is counting.
But that's relatively a low impact in your opinion.
Yes, sir, that's not a lot of vehicles when you start looking at a road 35 mile an hour speeding.
Okay, and then to the point of the wetland impact. So if I'm understanding it correctly, based on what you just said, regardless of how we perceive the ordinance of continuous, they can come back in and redesign it, is what you're saying, but have a lot more impact on wetland and infrastructure. In other words, fill wetlands that we don't want filled and things like that.
Yes, a redesign could achieve that. It just would unfortunately result in, destruction of wetlands and vegetation.
Which is destruction of stormwater. I mean, it's anyway. So my big thing was the traffic, because that's what I was asked about. So I appreciate you answering that.
One thing I want to clarify, that's 7 days. We did it for exactly 7 days. So it's 24 hours. So you're talking, if I'm doing it in my head quickly, less than 800 vehicles a day average, I believe. Did I figure it out? Actually, it's more than 800, it'd be about 900.
Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. David? Jeff?
Yeah, I do. Okay, once again, I'm going to leave the site plan, and I'm going to go back to the text amendment. And it seems that there's a lot of confusion there. It seemed like it was at the planning board level, and certainly here at the council level, the intent of the text amendment. The applicants here that submitted the text amendment, and I would like to see the applicant go back to the planner and resubmit the text amendment as I think they intended, or maybe not. But it's up to them, I think, to clear this up and bring it back to us. And what we do with this one, I'm not sure. But for the future, if that is the intent of the applicant, then I would like to have him go back to Rob and then bring that text amendment back. Go to the planning board and start it all over. I hate to do that, but that's the procedure we're going to have to do if we're going to get this, so that.
And we don't do text amendments.
We don't, and that's why it would be up to the applicant to resubmit and get the wording that I think they intended. And once again, I think that would be a good place for us to start on that and clear the text amendment up, if it's okay with the rest of the council.
I agree. Charlotte, any comments?
No, that sounds great to me.
David, you okay with that?
No, I'm fine with it.
I think it's great. I think it's a great idea.
I mean, I think we owe it to everybody to be as tight as we can be with what everybody's wanting.
So Casey, we need a motion to that effect? Just a
No,
recommendation?
I think that Councilman Pruitt, as Mayor Pro Tem Pruitt, has spoken and given some direction to the applicant.
And it's unanimous of the,
And there was consensus among the board, so.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody good with that? Okay. Thank you. Again, a lot of hard work, Casey, by you and Rob. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Item 12, council, as you know, Councilwoman Lynn McLean chose not to file for re-election. Our new replacement here is Councilman Dylan Tullett. We're lucky to have. We need to make 2 appointments that Councilwoman McLean held. I know who I would like to get them. Who would like to make that motion? Charlotte?
I'll be glad to. I'd like to recommend Dylan Tillett to fill those 2 vacancies and take Lynn's place on those 2 committees,
Okay,
please.
again, that is the Land Transfer Tax Appeals Board, the Albemarle Rural Planning Organization, Rural Technology Advisory Committee. Good gosh. So you second, David? I don't have to repeat that again. All right, any further discussion? Any further nominations? Dylan, you'll take it, right?
Thank you, sir. Yes, I will.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Dylan. Time Manager, Melody?
Sure. Good evening, council and everyone in the audience. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank the staff for all of their spirit and creativity and efforts while working on this year's community holiday events. The Shop with the First Responder event and the Santa's Motorcade were both extremely successful. Our town is very lucky to have the staff that we do, as well as several generous citizens and property owners who financially support these events by making donations. Plans are already in the works for next year, and all I can say is there is snow in the forecast. I wanted to also congratulate Christy for being sworn in tonight. We are so happy to have her on board, and I think Laura might be the most happy on board. And I wanted to thank her for stepping in and being willing to take on the town clerk role in Lynn's absence. Also in the audience, we have Jessica Everett. She is our new administrative planning assistant, and lucky for us, she's really interested in planning, which blows my mind. And she's going to be helping with the front desk reception and also with the permitting process. And Phyllis Carter is kind of taking her under her wing and teaching her all kinds of interesting things. And all of our new people in the last year have just been great additions to our team. It's budget season here in Kitty Hawk. I've placed a proposed budget calendar, just FYI, at your seats this evening. We are hoping to have a budget work session with the council and department heads in March. We've tentatively scheduled that for March 19th, but I will confirm with each of you that y'all are available before we schedule that. And in the police department building, we have received the 90% design submittal that's been presented by Dills Architects, and the town review committee has provided our feedback, and Dills has responded. We do have a meeting this Friday to discuss the findings and recommendations. I'm happy to report that this project remains on schedule, and we plan to have this out for bid in February. Tonight, I've provided you with the copy of the 90% submittal response, as well as a copy of the schedule. And town offices and the recycle center will be closed on Monday, January 15th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Due to the holiday, the town's Monday trash pickup will take place on Tuesday, January 16th, and we will resume our normal collection schedule on Thursday, January the 18th. That's all I have. Thank
Great
you.
report. Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Melody. Casey?
Mayor, I've got nothing. Thank you.
Okay. You've spoken enough, right?
I did talk a lot tonight.
All right. Council, David?
No, sir, I'm good for the evening. Thank you.
All right. Dylan?
Just a few things. Wanted to thank town staff and all the different departments who worked on the Santa motorcade. My family and I stood out by the street and waved at everybody and had a blast. I think that was a great thing, so thank you for putting that on. I'd like to thank Christian for stepping up for the new building inspector trainee position. Appreciate you showing interest in that. And welcome Christy. And I'd like to congratulate the police department, chief, lieutenant, and all the police officers who worked so hard to get that certification. Sounds like a big honor to have, and thank you for doing that for the town. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Dylan. Jeff?
Yeah, I'd also like to thank the chief and lieutenant and the rest of the police force for stepping up. And I don't know, y'all, I see them all over the place, and I see them smiling and laughing when they're up giving people tickets anyway. They're a mighty happy bunch. But anyway, it's good to see them. Maybe they're giving them warning. Maybe that's why they're smiling. But anyway, thank you. Welcome, Christy. Welcome. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. Charlotte?
Echo what Jeff said about the police department. I'm very proud of that. I was fortunate enough to be able to go on a ride along, and it was very informative and exciting. And I also want to thank everyone for the work that went into the personnel policies and updating those. It's a lot of work, and that motorcade was so exciting. I had such a good time, and it was well received by everybody. It was just awesome. So I appreciate all the work that went into that, all the reindeer that were cut out and the sleighs and all that stuff. So it was wonderful to have Santa on the back of that vehicle for those kids. So thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Again, Chief, thank you. Great honor to you and your department. Great strides moving forward. Thank you very much. Christy, welcome. It was an honor to swear you in earlier. Not swear at you, but swear you in. It was an honor. The parade, when we left Town Hall, the first smiling faces I saw was Dylan, his
Dylan's
wife, and 3 kids. Biggest smiles you ever seen in your life, and that made the whole night worthwhile. Right
They
there.
enjoyed it.
But it was a great night. We had a special elf with us, about a 7-foot-tall elf. But it was a great night. So again, thank you to all the departments. It's 2024, as I said. We've got a big, busy year ahead of us. Very much looking forward to it. If there's nothing else, I'll ask for a motion.
I have one
Go ahead,
more.
Jeff.
Well, we had said we were going to bring up Diane's request.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got it right here circled, Ms. Midget, I swear.
You want to go ahead, or?
Willie, can you,
Yeah. Yeah.
you've already talked to him, but see if what we can do with DOT to help her with her flooding issue?
He's one man. There's a lot of grant money out there. One man got nobody knows a good one.
That man, it starts with that man right there, so that's the reason I'm talking to
Yeah,
him.
see if there's a way they can, if there is the diversion of that water that's coming out of there, if there's a way to get it back into the canal or into some kind of a hold, and, I'm not really sure, but we've got to try.
The bridge is nice, beautiful, and was very much needed, but the flooding should not be occurring, so. See what we can do. Thank you, Willie. Thank you. And I'm sure she'll be back at the next meeting, so.
I'll be back.
I know you will, I can tell. That's fine. Anything else, council? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, council.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.